two halves of the beak, establishing a clear passage through to the cervix. "Scald," she said, her words coming from far away. "Only at first." He dabbed around the opening with cotton wool soaked in saline solution. When he was satisfied that everything was ready, he stood up. "I'm turning out the lights." "Baka," she said sleepily. "Womb, vagina, good fortune, happiness, excellence." First blackness, then slowly, as his eyes adjusted, a subdued purple glow suffusing the room. The purple was Stacy's idea. She had draped a scarf over a reading lamp. "I'm going into the bathroom," he said. "I want you to relax." Jimi Hendrix switched into All Along the Watchtower. The bathroom was the pre-op. He'd read how there was less bacteria on a toilet seat than on the average kitchen sink, and had figured that with all the tile, this was the one space he could get really clean. The shower curtain had gone in with the cuddly toys. He'd Cloroxed everything else, and then wiped the surfaces with an alcohol-soaked cloth. He kept a hand over his eyes as he switched off the light, then stood there taking deep breaths, aware of the rising tension in his neck and shoulders. It was always going to be hard, he knew that. They were crossing a line. It was a life they were dealing with. There were going to be powerful emotions. He worried that he'd overdone the Benzedrine. If he got the shakes at the wrong moment, it could be disastrous. He closed his eyes, told himself that it was a straightforward procedure. Nurses did it in some clinics, not even doctors. All that he had to do was cross 4.9 centimeters of darkness to bring the tip of the catheter to the waiting wall of blood. He placed a surgical mask over his nose and mouth. He checked his eyes in the mirror. "It's easy," he said. "It's the easiest thing you ever did." Taking a deep breath, he removed the caps from the dishes. 5 minutes later, he walked out of the bathroom, holding the syringe with the flexible catheter attached. "I want to get down from here," Stacy said. "Get me down from here." Out of her head, but still a pain in the ass. With her legs up like that, she looked like a Thanksgiving turkey. "It won't take long." "No." She looked up at him, and he could see that she'd been crying. "I don't want to do this." She slumped back, her doubled-up legs swaying, too far gone to even roll over. "Are you crazy?" he said. "We agreed about this, Stacy." "I don't want to." "We can't wait. It's now or never, you know that." Her shoulders were shaking, but she didn't say anything. He kneeled at the foot of the bed. The steel speculum looked like part of her. It made him think of the metal tag in the ear of a cow. "I'm inserting the catheter," he said. "You're going to feel this, but it's important you keep very still." She didn't answer. She was slowly shaking her head from side to side. According to the gynecologist, her uterine cavity was just under 5 centimeters long and slightly anteverted. In the dry runs, they'd had no trouble with obstructions. He advanced the catheter to the cervix, then very gently entered the narrow neck, using the speculum as his reference point against the markings on the Teflon sleeve. It was vital that the tip of the sleeve stay outside the uterine cavity, away from the lush volutions of the fragile endometrium. "Baby, baby, baby, baby." He kept his head down. She wasn't talking to him anyway, was probably unaware he was even there. He felt sorry for her. Then he frowned, forcing himself to focus on the syringe in his hands. The flexible inner catheter entered the rigid sleeve, and he was in the uterus, flying blind to going by feel. He had to cross the dark all the way over until he reached the fundus, the area at the top of the uterus between the entrance of the fallopian tubes. He blinked the perspiration from his eyes, watching the flexible catheter disappear into the sleeve, millimeter by millimeter. He got a flash of the child growing, its tiny heart pumping, its eyes. Was it a boy or a girl? His hands were shaking. Why did it matter, the sex? It wasn't a person. It was an idea, a dream. "Get a grip." "What?" Her head rolled to one side. And then he was there. Maybe not 5 millimeters.